just you get to choose. Right? Like here's the scenario. The environment gives us something which can be perceived as negative, can be perceived as not working, can be perceived as problematic. The world's ending. But we get to choose to see it like that, or we get to choose to see it as an opportunity.
So clearly that it's my responsibility now to do that for other people. If I have information and, other people's success is my success and vice versa.
Because you know what? Like, the challenges or the roadblocks are the journey themselves.
There's no big things. It's all little things compounding on top of each other. I believe when we move our bodies and connect to our spiritual practice, we have the opportunity to not only improve our lives, but the lives of those we love. This is a quote from Todd McCullough, the founder of TMAC Fitness, a home fitness program that has helped more than 20,000 people get in shape and get their mind right. Todd is passionate about helping people get their mind right every day. His signature program is TMAC 20. 20-minute workouts, no equipment, no excuses. Each workout ends with a brief meditation, aka the Mind Right meditation. Born in the rural South, Todd attended University of Florida, where he was a starting football player. Like many athletes, he suffered numerous injuries. He had a career in finance at Merrill Lynch and was laid off during the financial crisis of 2008. Todd knew it was time for a new direction. His football injuries led him to a yoga studio, where he discovered a way to move with his physical restrictions. This led Todd to merge his new passion for yoga with athletic training, and TMAC Fitness was born. It began as a personal training business where Todd trained thousands of clients, including Olympic athletes and celebrity artists. Eventually, it was time to scale. Now, TMAC Fitness is an online membership-based company that provides short, fast, and effective workouts with a strong emphasis on mindfulness. Todd's signature online program, TMAC 20, has helped more than 20,000 people get in shape and get their minds right from home. We know you'll enjoy this week's episode with special guest, Todd McCullough.
Welcome to another Truth Seekers, here with me, Coach Nick, Coach Josh, and with Todd McCullough, TMAC in the house. Super excited to have you here, Todd. Welcome.
Good to be here, fellas.
Awesome. I got to kick off with a story about how I knew you, because it's been integral for the last 6-7 years of my life. And I hope this resonates with you, because I know that you touch a lot of people with what you do. But when I started moving to coaching, I moved down to North Carolina from New York. First thing I did was do a health coaching certification through Primal Health Coaching, which I love. And that's how I live my life. And as part of that graduation certification, there was resources. It was, go this, you might want to use tmacfitness.com to go help your clients. And at the time, like, we had our first daughter was born. You can see the pictures of our daughters up there.
Beautiful.
And I realized as soon as she was born, my evening workouts were done. That's it. It's got to be morning forevermore. And from that point on, it was always a minimum 5:30 wake up to do that. And as we moved down to North Carolina, like, the way that my life was set up, I just had no time in the morning. So it was just the 20 minutes. And I've subscribed to your tmacfitness.com for at least 4 years. So appreciate you. You've really helped me out through some of those times. It's been a theme. It's been a theme, man, in the last few years of my life. So I appreciate you for that, for sure.
That's great to hear, man. It's just, I love seeing fathers take ownership of their mindset and their body and to lead by example. And so we're just happy to be a part of the journey, man. It's been really cool to watch stories like yours over the years. So appreciate you sharing with me.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know that you share that a lot in your videos as well. So it's amazing what you see, right? Like me and Coach do the same thing as we work with people, and you see the little trickle down effect, and it's the stuff that you don't see as well, it's continuing to happen in the background. It's amazing. It's amazing.
What do you see as far as the biggest benefit? I'm curious, from the workouts. Why do you do the TMAC 20 workouts?
Yeah, for me, TMAC 20s are about the balance, right? A balance of what can I get for my biggest bang for my buck.
Yep.
Biggest bang for my buck at the time is to be able to move my body, to be able to actually, because before that I was doing I've always done a lot of weights. I did a lot of martial arts, and really that was my focus. But so how can I get the biggest bang for my buck, right? Without needing any space, having the opportunity to do some strength work, but to do some flexibility work as well, do some cardio work, and pull that all together. And for me, it's just like, if I can get it in, it sets the standard for the day. It's like, we win the morning, win the day. And that's really important.
Yeah, totally. I'm a big believer that each morning we have an opportunity to program our mind for positivity or negativity, right? And so for me, it's like moving my body and connecting to my spiritual practice before you look at social media, before you look at work emails. Because if not, you're allowing all the negativity from the news and everything else program and set your day, right? Even if you're not even doing it intentionally, right? That's going to determine your outlook the rest of the day. But if you move your body, connect to your spiritual practice, you can program yourself for positivity. For whatever happens the rest of that day, you can handle it in a positive mindset. One of the things that we talk about all the time in the videos you've probably seen is, how do we lengthen that gap between stimulus and response, right? And so that's why each workout ends in that meditation and prayer, is that the body, like we shock the body with the workout, the 20-minute HIIT workout. And then we tap into the spiritual and the meditation right afterwards. And that helps lengthen the gap between stimulus and response. And what I mean by that is, so your beautiful daughter with the photos behind you, say you're getting ready to go out the door for a dinner or whatever, she spills something on her dress, right? Can you take a moment, take a breath, and choose your response, as opposed to just reacting in the moment in an emotional state? And so that's kind of like, I think really like why the workouts have been helpful to so many parents like yourself. It's like, yeah, you come in for the physical and then you learn it's a complete mind shift as well.
Yeah. And thank you. That's why it really excites me to pull this all together, because as a coach, me and Coach Josh, this is what we do. Now, our focus is on business, but it's all the same stuff. It's all the same principles. How do you get yourself that little bit of space? How do you protect yourself in the morning? You know, you reference my daughter, like she's 5 years old and the other one's about to be 1. They're sponges, absolute sponges. But so are we first thing in the morning. And if you fill yourself up with all those emails you don't want to look at and the social media stuff, that's going to be what propagates throughout your day. It's crazy. Where do you see this most, Coach Josh?
I'm reminded of, my journey with the physical and the spiritual. Like 10 years ago, this conversation would be like, what the hell are you guys talking about? But like, I don't know where along the way this was so integrated with my approach, but I think more and more people are waking up to this. And I just think, Todd, the way you frame it with programming the mind, right? Some people might have resistance to that, but I think it's the self-awareness that makes it okay. Like we know, now that we know, how we operate and that it follows what we're feeding ourselves, right? It works with physical food, but it also works with like information and stuff we're subjecting ourselves to. Why wouldn't we prioritize the things that we know work? And for you figured out that the stuff that works is, a workout, shock the body, like you said, and then that spiritual connection. Like, I'm curious, when you get through your day, you mentioned like the gap in between the stimulus and response. Is there any other perks, any other benefits?
Yeah, well, the most immediate one you'll get is just decrease in stress, right? You'll feel more relaxed, more calm. You're switching over to the parasympathetic nervous system. Most of us that are in the business world are in the sympathetic all the time. And it's just taking a few moments each day to consistently kind of switch over the nervous system. So the immediate benefit is the stress relief. But then I'll also tap in, and again, everyone comes at different parts of their journey, right? So most people come for the fitness, right? To lose weight, etc. That being said, they start having kids, they start thinking more about life, and you start to discover that, look, we can do all the workouts we want, we can eat all the kale, but if our soul is not at peace, we'll never experience true wellness. And so I don't try to tell people what that looks like for them. We just try to create the space each day for them to connect to their spiritual practice. And so for me, it's just like, I had no intention of creating a program that was just burpees all day, right? Like, let people connect to something deeper, give them more meaning and purpose in their life. And if you're in the business and you've got to figure out that why, like, why do you want to get your product out to the world, right? What is your meaning? These are things you can connect to each day. And I think that what makes it a habit is you stack it at the end of the workout. We all know that working out's great for you. We all know that meditation is great for you, but they've always been separate. So if you habit stack it right at the end, you start with a good habit of working out, and then right afterwards, you do the immediate meditation. And so then it fits into every your day and becomes a daily habit.
Yeah, I love it. James Clear's habit stacking from Atomic Habits. And
yeah, so I had no idea that's what we were doing, but that's what we did.
Right. And it's so cool now because there's so many things out there and it all pulls together, which is really exciting to me. But I'd love to hear, Todd, because this has obviously been a journey for you, and you're touching a lot of people with what you're doing. There's a massive trickle-down effect. We talked a little bit about that before we hit the record button here. But for you going through, when did you first see that? When did you pull those things together and go, oh, there's way more to this than just a bunch of
I think
burpees.
that's a long journey, right? So that's like, so my personal faith journey was I came to know Christ at 12, right? And like Christ became like a father. It became, how I connected to God each day. And then, the two things that was important to me was my faith and then football as a kid, right? So I worked out to play football and was fortunate to go play football at the University of Florida and play a little bit overseas. And then, so those were kind of like my two passions, like faith and fitness. And I got there one day to a point where it's just like, all right, we know that we're working out and we're releasing these positive endorphins in the body and they feel good. But if we don't do anything else, we're just chasing the endorphin high, right? There has to be a deeper why and a deeper meaning to what we do. And like I said, I just try to create the framework, not really tell people like that we've got people that are Christian, people that are Muslim, people that are Jewish, people that don't have any religious affiliation. And we just lead them through the mind right meditation, and that resonates with them however best it does. But that was, to me, it's just like giving people a daily connection to working out and to God each day, whatever that looks like for them.
Yeah, and I think that path is different. Like I mentioned, for myself, 10 years ago would have been so crazy. I'm trying to think of the moment. I don't know. Maybe it's just a slow integration of realizing that there's something more. You can only do something so many times to where it's unfulfilling, and you're like, okay, I got to do something else. Like this isn't. There's got to be something more to what I'm doing.
Well, let me put the ball in y'all's court real quick. This is a fun thing to do. Like why is it important that y'all do well in business? Like why?
I'll go first, Coach. That I do well in business, the better that I do, I think this is in the intro of our podcast, the better that I do, it means the more successful I'm making other people as well. There is that ripple effect. And
why does that matter? Why does that matter? Because
I think when you help get people what they want, then they do the same thing. And you can probably ask again, well, why does that matter?
Correct.
There's levels and levels and levels. And I guess the more you ask that, you get to this place with fulfillment of purpose and expansion and growth of, maybe our souls. That might be the point I get to. I don't know if that's controversial or but I think that we're here to learn lessons. Mm-hmm. I think that pain gives us different perspectives of, why people might perceive things differently than we would. I think it comes down to love. If I could be share that as well. As like there you go. Love is something that is like there's no bounds with it, right? Like the term unconditional love is such a pure love that I think we're all working to get to, and we're here to learn how to do that better. And nobody that exists today, besides maybe the Dalai Lama or people who have that, are experiencing that in that level, know how to do that. And we're here to learn that. And we think we need to teach other people how to do it. And like people are in our lives, even our own clients and the people that we're influencing for our benefit. They're our teachers as well. I'm a firm believer in that too.
Nick, what about yourself, man? It's kind of the motivation.
Absolutely. I think we have a responsibility when it comes down to it. We want, there's certain things that we need to feel safe and secure, but above from that, there's the ability to be able to grow and the ability to give back. But I think it's a responsibility. Like if you've tasted some sort of success, you know that you live in a world of abundance. There's plenty more out there than there's not. There's a responsibility to continue to do more than that. Yes, we should be grateful, thankful for what we got. I just don't think that's enough. We've got to keep going, right? And that's a application for the people that are close to you, whether that's your family, your colleagues, people that you touch on a daily basis, but it's creating more of that for the world around us, right? So I think that the more success that you have, whatever that means to you, the more responsibility you have to get more of it, because then you can help other people around you. I think that's where it really starts from.
And that's exactly it, right? Essentially what you guys both hit as is connecting to something bigger than yourself, a deeper sense of purpose. And that's kind of the intention of the meditation every day, right? Like if we wake up every day as business owners, I'm going to look at 100 emails tomorrow morning by 7 a.m. It's going to be in my inbox. 30% of them are going to be putting out fires, right? Like things going on, right? Like we can easily get caught up in that. But before we open that inbox, we can reconnect to our why we're doing this. Changes the whole state of the day.
What you focus on is what you get.
Yep.
And you want to make sure what starts is what you want to happen throughout the day. Like, how many times I work with the clients, they'll come in and I'll be like, what's been great this week? Like nothing.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Yeah. Nothing. It's like nothing at all. It's like, not really.
Yep.
And you have, there's always there if you want to find it, but it's making the choice up front, because you can unwind it on the back end. But if you start in a good place,
Yep.
the chances of getting a good result is higher.
A little quiz. You remember, so the first part of the mind right meditation, do you remember what that starts with?
The first part of the mind is to lift up someone you love.
It's the second part, gratitude. So you got it. You got it close. You got the second part. So the first part's gratitude, right? It's just what you said, right? Shit can be raining down and outside you, but you can take a moment that morning, like, you got a roof over my head. I've got food to eat. Starting in that day with gratitude shifts everything, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like find something, right? Because what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And you can start from that point. Like everything's available. Right? I'd love to hear, Todd, if you're open to share, like what are you focused on right now? Like what's your expansion of this? Because I don't imagine that you're slowing down.
Yeah, so I think kind of going back, I think we all have God-given gifts, right? And I think that I've been fortunate so blessed to be able to live what I believe to be mine, right? Is to help give people the tools to live healthier, happier lives through movement, meditation. And so the first couple years was figuring out product market fit, right? This started as a 50-minute home workout program, and people enjoyed the combination of the yoga and the HIIT training, but they were like, it's too long. We can do 50 minutes, maybe one day a week. All we have is 20 minutes. Yep. And so it's a big shock to the ego, right? You thought you created this perfect program, right? And then you have to listen to your customers and say, how can I best serve? And so I took the 50-minute program, chopped it into 20 minutes, and that seemed to be what resonated. So we continued to work on that product market fit for the first couple of years. And in the last 2 years has really been understanding the business model. In my business, it is, there's a couple metrics, that really, really make a difference. And the big one is retention for me, right? You can bring in 100 new customers a month, but if you're losing 90, you're not gaining a whole lot, right? So really understanding the business model, how do we help with retention? That's been the focus the last couple of years. And then now we're at a place where it's like, we've got a great product market fit. We've got a really successful annual retention is like 84%, which is amazing on an annual basis. Now it's figuring out how we can put gasoline on this engine. And so that'll probably be building out a marketing team. I'm looking now at possibly raising capital. That may be something I do. Not sure yet on that. That's kind of the focus for the next probably two to 3 years is, how do we take this, foundation now and continue to, because everything's pretty much just grown organically, which is great. But if you want to start expanding, paying your team more, hiring more people, do these type of things, bring on a CFO, these type of things, you have to be able to grow and expand. And so that's where the focus will be probably for the next 2 or 3 years.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because there's so many things that are pulled out of that, right? Because it's so easy for people to look at it and go, oh, that's great for Todd. Now he gets just pour gasoline on the fire and everything goes crazy. It's like, well, yeah, but look at all the time and the iterations that he spent through
the 7 years to get to this point.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, there's a client I work with that has a distillery out in California, right? And he spent 9 years putting this together. They've got a great story. They make booze through sweet potatoes. Great family story. It's really, really cool. And he has now a proper business plan to take this thing, multiples of 10 millions, and it's great. And he's like, wow, I can't believe it's worth so much. It's like, you spent 9 years on this thing. It's like, this is not an overnight success. It's those 9 years beforehand.
Everyone thinks it is, right? And I think that goes back to some of our conversation earlier, is getting clear on, like, I think there's different types of entrepreneurs. There's those that just are really good at seeing holes in the market and creating products for it. And then they go and they create that, they do it for a couple of years and they sell it. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not that type of entrepreneur. For me, this is my life's work. So there was no plan B, meaning that we were going to figure out a fucking way to make this happen. Like some way or the other, it's going to figure out a way. And so that's just, it's been the journey. And 30 years from now, hopefully I'm still living and breathing, and we'll be doing some version of helping people move and connect. Right now, like I said, it's the focus on the TMAC 20 workout, but 30 years from now, we'll be doing some version of this.
Love it, man. It's so cool, because we have this really cool tool called the mind scan. It's about how we think. There's the relator, doer, the thinker. And so it's people, action, and innovation, and structure and process, right? And so it follows a natural evolution, if you will, right? So it's that middle part, the action. It's like, look, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go forward and just create something. I'm going to start wherever I am, and I'll start to build. And at a certain point, you need to flick into the structure part and then create some of that around it so you have something to jump off of so you can scale. And it's so cool. Another way to think about it is that, there's 3 different types of people. There's the entrepreneur purely, there's the artist, and then there's the manager leader. Right. And so it sounds like, I would think, based on what I know of you, Todd, it's like, you get the entrepreneurial side, but for you, it's the art. It's like the passion is for delivering on that. That's why it sets the lifelong pursuit. You can flex yourself into the entrepreneur because you want to make it successful, but that's really the art first to think about. And that's kind of
I'm 100% with you. You have to wear, when you're, mom and pop shop, you have to wear multiple hats. But I got no problem with bringing on team members that are better than I in other skill sets, and to let them use their gifts. And so, that's kind of the vision going forward, right? It's like, I'll probably still be kind of the face doing podcasts, creating content. And right now I'm running things, but there's someone out there that's much more talented than I am at organizing and getting stuff off and running. So yeah, that's kind of right now, then, like you said, the focus for the next couple of years will be expanding this beyond just me and a couple people.
It's exciting. Guys, we should start to wrap up here, grab some takeaways. I took a whole bunch of notes here. I think what resonated the most with me from today's conversation is, it sounds cliche or obvious, but as we know, Coach Nick, cliches come from places that are very important. But doing something, being aligned with something bigger, I eventually navigated my way through that answer, but you got me thinking, Todd. Just like, that is what it is about. That's why I coach at Pro Advisor Coach, and not, individually for myself. Now, eventually I could do that. I could craft a business by myself into something bigger, but I like what we do because I am a part of a much bigger mission that I think we're much more powerful together and can achieve it much more quickly. We can accelerate each other's progress along the way. So that it's another reminder of asking better questions to get better answers. So thank you for that question, Todd. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's one that I've laid in bed and tossed and turned with for a long time. You can go really deep down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. So we'll give Todd the last word. So Coach Nick, something you're taking away today, or a principle that resonated with you that is a good reminder.
Yeah, and the question changes, right? Because even if you lay in bed and figure it out, it's like, well, it changes because that's what life's about. But what really struck out to me is that I often think about, if you don't know where you're going forward, if you can't figure out what the next step is, either you haven't got an anchor planted as to where you are, or you haven't got an anchor planted to where you're going. And for me, the mind meditation is the morning version of the anchor, and the why is the next anchor on. So you create and go back to football, move the damn change. You need to know where that next 10 yards is coming from. Yep. Like if you haven't got one of them, it's like, where am I? So it's super important. So you've got the morning version of that, and then you've got the why. That's what gives you the clarity. That's what enables you to make the steps into the day and be successful. Well said.
Well said.
For our English audience, we should specify American football, Coach. American football. We got it.
There's no change in football, proper football. Come on now.
You Euros, good God. The little thing where you don't tackle each other, y'all call that football? Anyway.
The one we keep.
Bring us home. Something you're taking away, a good reminder from today's conversation, something that resonated with you.
It's for all of us, and me particularly, right? And my moment here is that we're caught up in business meetings all day. We're caught up in calls and conferences. And then I see the picture of your daughter behind you, right? Understanding that we're coming into this man's home every morning. He allows us into his home so he can better provide for his family. And that's a hell of a responsibility and a hell of a privilege. So that's kind of my takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. And just a reminder of the truly important things that we've crafted our businesses and our daily work and our life's toil to help people to do that. But then to see it and to experience it is a completely different experience. It's just to be reminded of that is awesome. Thank you for that, Todd.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
Right,
I want to share one last thing actually, because this morning I dropped my girls off to school, took them out of my truck, and handed them off to the lady there like I do most mornings. She's like, "You're one lucky daddy. You got some cute girls." And I got back in my truck and I thought, I really am. And like, because of the space, right? Because of the space. And me and Coach were talking about that before we started, really getting that space. So appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully it helps some people out there at home.
Absolutely. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching another episode of Truth Seekers. We appreciate your interaction. So please comment, like, subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more, check out some of our links. Links to our masterclass, The Achiever's Mindset, and come join our LinkedIn group. And what do you want to see more of? Remember, we're here to share the simple secrets of successful. So help us do that. What do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Thanks, and see you again next time.